Only because I'm stubborn.
I think up in New York, yeah, I just don't see him, that's all. I left mine in the car.
Okay, so before we actually pronounced this structure over here, the Pyramid of the Moon, Senad over there that you're gonna meet as our host today, and his father who owns this land, were actually having a nice dish orchard that still exists today, but had one problem that all of the people that have private properties on the pyramids have. They didn't have a water, lack of water. All of the houses on the sides of the Pyramid of the Sun, on the top of the Love Pyramid, hotels on the top of the Sun Pyramid that you're gonna see, Pyramid of the Dragon, here on the Moon Pyramid, they all have problems with water. They don't have the natural springs, so they have to bring the water either in the big tanks, or if they are at the bottom of the pyramids, if their houses are there, they need to guide through the system of the pipes the water to their homes. Now, Senad and his father tried to find the water here on this property by digging the well. So they removed the approximately 1.5 meters of, as you can see, the grass and this different kind of material, then clay and the humus, and after approximately 1.5 meters of that material, they reached these beautiful lines of the sandstone plates.
Isn't that something?
So they weren't actually excavating, they were just looking for water.
Exactly.
All right.
So they didn't know what it is. They obviously it looked strange. You don't find sandstone this close to the surface. You don't find sandstone in this kind of formation. You don't find cut sandstone plates positioned one next to each other, and especially you don't find another layer of the same sandstones like that immediately after the first layer. But they removed that layer too, and then there was a small little layer of the clay, and then another layer of the perfectly cut sandstone plates positioned perfectly one next to each other into beautiful formation. They removed that sandstone layer, and then under this little layer of the clay, another layer of the sandstone plates, and then another layer, and then the layers got bigger and bigger. These big ass sandstone plates usually can be found deep inside the hill because they needed thousands of years to be pressed. It's a pressed clay over thousands of years. Then bigger and bigger, and they were moving and moving. It was days and days of hard labor and hard work until they reached approximately 6 to 7 meters down into the huge concrete blocks that were unpenetratable. They couldn't do it with their own simple machines, so they gave up, but they never found a single drop of the water.
They got a lot more, but
Yeah, so they just found these beautifully cut sandstone plates and the concrete blocks at the bottom. Then when we found out that this is actually a pyramid of the Moon, came to the top, found this property and found this hole. It was a perfect sample for us of the vertical cut. We didn't have to do it ourselves. We could see how actually the plateau looks on the inside if you cut it vertically. Actually, whole the plateau that is approximately 60 meters long is made out of thousands, millions and billions of these cut sandstone plates into hundreds and hundreds of layers with a different size becoming bigger and bigger until we reach the concrete blocks at the bottom.
So this whole pyramid is made out of this right here?
Yes, but only the surface parts, surface couple of layers, maybe more layers, are made out of little ones. As you go inside, they're getting bigger and bigger. And then you reach the concrete blocks. The same thing is when we excavated on the sides of the pyramid, on the terraces of the pyramid, the same thing. The upper layer is always these little, beautiful, tiny sandstone plates, then a little layer of clay, then more of those until they get bigger and bigger until we reach the concrete blocks. Same on the terraces. But then we decided to make a couple of other sondas excavation trenches around, and everywhere where we removed the soil, we would find these perfectly, beautifully situated cut sandstone plates.
So this is across the whole top?
All time.
Wow.
We even took, for example, 2 of those, which are standing next to each other, and measured their porosity, erosion level. Because since sandstone is staying inside the soil in the certain depth, it's being differently exposed to the surface. So some of the sandstone plates are 10 meters inside the soil, some of them are 20 meters inside the soil, some of them are 50 meters inside the soil. So it means their differently influenced by the water that comes from the surface. So we took the two of these sandstone plates and we sent them to the laboratory, and they got back the results for showing different level of erosion, which means it's not their original location. Original location is somewhere in the different depths. These two blocks that are standing next to each other right now, obviously being cut, their original location was on a different depth. One of them maybe was 20, 30 to 50 meters inside, while some of them were even 50 or 100 meters inside. So the water influenced them differently on their original location. We tried to find out where is the source of all of this sandstone that we can find here on the Pyramid of the Moon, and we were looking into one interesting hill, and you look at it topographically. This hill is kind of very mysteriously and unlogically stopping. You know, it just stops. So it's not usually geological way it stops. We get there and we actually measured and saw that actually half of the hill is missing, and half of this hill inside were huge parts of the sandstone plates. So most probably that's where the sandstone was taken. It's few kilometers away from here, and still you would need like huge machines, transportation system, you know, people would cut all of this, and if you try to consider it that way, you know, mechanically you can't get the proper explanation of how the structure is being done, which obviously gives us the hint that this structure has been designed and constructed by the advanced civilization that had the advanced technology, which we unfortunately can't comprehend or understand today, but we can rather see its influence and we can see the results of this technology without being able to understand how it's being done because of the lack of the machines and technology that we possess today. So all of the pyramid is made in such a way, and it has a class, and it has very interesting shape. These are terraces, little terraces that goes down, and
Like
it's very
steps?
like almost like a steps, but it's in this particular case it's terraces.
Okay.
It's unique shape really, and we didn't measure an electromagnetic beam on the top of it like we did measure on the top of the Sun Pyramid and the Tumulu, but rather everywhere we go around the structure, around the pyramid, on all of those terraces, on the sides, on the top, we have this interesting vibration where you can measure it all on all sides and all where. What it means? It means that as the energy, for example, first let us talk about the water. It means that if the people don't have a water on the Sun Pyramid and the Love Pyramid that's just next to it, we saw that the Sun and the Love is next to it,
Yes.
and there is this cut,
Yes.
and this cut continues to the natural hills that it's up there. It's natural and logical to expect a water flow between these,
Yes.
you know, things into this in this little cliff. No, not a single drop. And all the water that falls down, it's kind of designed in such a way that the billions and billions of little channels are taking the water inside the structure, under the structure completely. Then when we did a huge experiment in order to discover where is the origin of huge electromagnetic beam on the top of the Sun Pyramid. We discovered that its source is 2.5 kilometers under the pyramid. We discovered that 2.5 kilometers under the pyramid there is an iron ore or iron plate with a 45 degrees angle, and that's where all the energy is coming to the top. Now, if we connect the water to it, if all the system is created in such a way to take the water, we know that the underground water, as it's streaming, as it's flowing, when it's passing through the rocks, through the metals, and through the crystals especially, it creates this vibration, it creates a huge amount of electromagnetism. Now if all this water is going down, passing through this huge iron ore, and we discovered actually also that 3 kilometers under the valley of the pyramids there are huge accumulations of the water. It's almost like a sea. That's one independent company who was searching for the oil found out before the pyramids were discovered. So all this water is going through the iron ore and making the whole sea. And while it's passing through the iron, it creates a huge amount of the energy, like raw energy, that is traveling to the surface. Now when it's reaching the surface, that's where the pyramid is kind of stopping it, it's leading it. The reason why we have a quartz crystal in the concrete is because quartz crystal is a unique conductor of the energy. But if we have it in the concrete, it means that it can stop, because usually from underground water, when it reaches surface, it's lost in the space. Here, to stop it from spreading into the space, they were using this quartz crystal and the quartz concrete. Yeah? You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're free to join. Listen. Yeah, crystals are very important. And then this concrete is actually guiding all of this electromagnetic energy into the one spot to the top. It doesn't allow it to get lost into the space. Because of the shape of the pyramid, it leads to the top. Now the tunnels that we were passing, and that we will discover more and more, hundreds of kilometers of them, all of them are coming from the different directions and to the different levels into the pyramid. What are they doing? Their job is to kind of color this vibration, this energy, because they bring 28 kilohertz frequency. They give the frequency to this raw energy. They shape the energy. So they give it a certain vibration to this huge amount of raw energy coming up. And then as it's focusing to the top, it's being colored by 28 kilohertz frequency into one spot that it's then sent to the atmosphere all the way up, who knows where. We discovered the Tesla scalar wave present over there that could communicate with any part of the universe almost instantly. Now here on the Pyramid of the Moon is a little bit different, because the blocks are positioned by the terraces, which means 90 degrees angle. When the energy comes from the top, it's not focused to the one spot, but it hits these terraces underground. It hits them from in all different levels of the pyramid are hit. So all of the pyramid is vibrating, and it spreads this vibration in the surrounding valley, affecting in the same way in the Pyramid of the Sun, and the Sun affecting in a different way. That's why we like to call that the Pyramid of Sun and Moon like yin and yang, like male and female energy. Pyramid of the Sun, you saw the huge concrete blocks, very sharp. The material that was used was conglomerate, so you have a bunch of stones sticking out of it. And the angles are sharp, and the energy is raw and very intense. While the Moon Pyramid, the material that was used was soft sandstone. The angles are much smoother, and the energy is much more relaxing.
Feminine.
It's a feminine, and the whole structure vibrates.
Was there much aluminum in these rocks, do you know? Was there much aluminum in the ore?
Aluminum? I don't know about that. When we tried to, this is actually a natural material. This is a natural material that was cut into these little pieces.
I'm just wondering.
This was not man-made.
This is not the man-made.
I mean, excuse me, it was not formed.
No.
Naturally.
This has been taken from elsewhere, cut and positioned over here. Then when you go 6-7 meters down, when you start finding concrete blocks,
What about this?
that's when they. All of this is a sandstone. All of this is a sandstone. It's a natural material.
But
This is
this
how
is not.
we need to do all of this. All of
this is
this.
sandstone
All
too.
of this is
Okay.
a sandstone. All until 7 meters inside when we reach the concrete. That's where it becomes artificially made material. All of the structure is all of this is artificially made, but it's not artificial material. Do you understand?
Comes from a quarry.
Yeah, so
And where
Exactly.
does the sandstone